So, Adam, how long? I mean, sports, was that important to you as a little kid? Because obviously wrestling's later in your career. Did you do a lot of sports as a young kid? And what kind of things did you enjoy doing?
I did gymnastics when I was 5 until I was 8, and I was on the national team, like going around places and everything. Well, I was supposed to be, but it cost too much money. So I quit and started doing swimming. So I started doing swimming for a little bit, and then I switched to volleyball and basketball. I wasn't that great at it because I'm so short, and it just, I'm not good with that type of sport. And then I really wanted to get into law enforcement, so I decided I needed martial arts, and I started jiu-jitsu, and that just set off the rest of my career.
But you were like 12 years old doing jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
That's a combat sport, and it's, you're choking people out, but you're competing, right? Did you like the competitive part of jiu-jitsu, not just learning the techniques, but actually beating somebody when it was a competition time?
I'm really competitive as a person, so as soon as I got into it, I'm pretty sure it was within a month. I looked at my dad and like, I want to win a world championship. And my dad's like, okay, well, you better get in the gym. So he would take me to practice 6 times a week when I was 12.
Wow. So that's a lot of intense training for somebody that age. Did you enjoy it? I mean, did you look forward to the training sessions? Because, a lot of kids would rather just be watching TV and playing with video games or something, right? I mean, they're pushing you 6 times a week is hard for anybody, let alone a kid, right?
I never really saw it as a chore or a commitment. I saw it as playtime. Like, I saw it as something I loved to do. And so I'd make my dad, like, it would be an hour before practice, and I'd be like, can we go early? Can we go do this? Can we go for a run or something? So my dad has always been there for me for jiu-jitsu. He actually stopped traveling for his work a lot and helped me out. So I never really saw it as something that I needed to, that it was a chore, that was hard. I saw it as playtime.
So you're from Ohio, right? Now,
Yeah.
Ohio is a wrestling state. I mean, did you know that? And then how did you get brought into the wrestling? I mean, not all the jiu-jitsu people do wrestling or ever even consider it, and here you are, right? A couple of years later. What got you to wrestle?
Well, I wanted to win a world championship in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the IBJJF, and I was 15, and I noticed that all these girls from Brazil are pulling guard, they're not doing any takedowns, but the thing is the people that did takedowns almost always won because they got the first 2 points. So I told my dad, like, hey, I want to start wrestling, and I went to a Catholic school, and I tried to wrestle there, and they're like, no, you're a girl, you can't wrestle. And so I was like, okay. So in the middle of my semester, I switched schools to a public school, and I started wrestling. And so I did wrestling to complement my jiu-jitsu, and so now I think it complements both.
So when did you figure out you were pretty good at this wrestling thing? I mean, you some girls just wrestle in high school and then go on and do other things, but somehow you got involved in USA wrestling matches and tournaments. And when did you realize, hey, not just a jiu-jitsu champ, I can be a wrestling champ?
I think junior year, I was the first girl in D1 in Ohio to go to districts, and so I think after that I was like, hey, maybe I could go far in wrestling. It gave me a lot of confidence in myself because D1 for girls in Ohio is very, very tough. And I was at a 106 weight class, and most of the guys try to cut to 106 if they can. So you got some studs in there. And so I realized since, hey, I can get to districts at a boys level, maybe I can get to a national level for girls.
Now, your high school coach, and tell me a little bit about your coaches in the high school. They were cool with a girl being on their team, but B, they, wanted you to get better and excel. I mean, who can you tell us about that helped you on the wrestling side as coaches and mentors there?
My head coach, his name is Dugan Bentley, and he accepted me as soon as I walked into the door. The coach before him, who had to retire as the head coach because he took a new job offer that he wasn't allowed to wrestle, he was actually the one that got me into it. He's like, hey, if you want to wrestle, you can switch schools and you can come here. So he always helped me. He helped me so much with freestyle. My friend Tom Good, he taught me my favorite takedown that is my bread and butter now. And all of them and Adam DeSabato has helped me so much. But they've all accepted me, and they all added a little bit. Like Dugan helped me with my front headlocks. Tom helped me with my arm drags. Spires helped me with my throws and my gut wrenches. And then Adam helped me with my high crotch and my positioning. So all of them have added to my game.
So obviously went to some big events and had some success nationally in wrestling. Was that a surprise to you, or did you think, hey, I can do it in jiu-jitsu, I should be able to beat these wrestling girls too, right?
My first time, I was like, man, let's see how I do at this. My junior year, I was like, I think I can go far. I think I could get in the top 8. I can place. And then I just kept winning, and I kept winning. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can go for first. And then I went against Macy Kitley. Macy Kitley's just a monster. She's so good. We had a good match, and I ended up getting second. And so right after that, I looked at my dad, and I was like, I need to get first next year. And so that was like my ultimate goal throughout the season, was just to get better and better for the nationals this year, which I ended up winning. But at first I didn't really see myself winning or getting second or anything like that. I saw myself maybe getting in the top 8.
Yeah, and so you didn't stop with just age group stuff too. I mean, you went to the Open against the senior women and placed high enough to go to the trials. What was it like when you wrestled? I mean, people you've probably been reading about online and seen in magazines, and senior level. This is the Olympic people. Talk about Vegas in December and how that went for you.
Vegas was one of the coolest moments of my life so far. That was just amazing, the atmosphere in there, like the intensity and just how much everyone wanted to win was just like no other. And I came in there and I'm wrestling like with all these national and world champions and everything like that, and I'm just sitting there like, hey, I read about this person, like this is so cool, I'm actually wrestling on the same, oh wait, I'm wrestling against her? Okay. And so, and I kind of went in your head like, I'm really doing this, I'm really going at this level. And I didn't cut weight for this, for it. I didn't have time because I signed up at last minute.
Yeah.
So I was definitely the smallest in my weight class, so I was really happy with how I did, and it was an amazing experience. It was like no other.
So you're at the Olympic Training Center right now. What's that like? I mean, jiu-jitsu isn't an Olympic sport. Wrestling is, and this is kind of a unique place. What's your perception of the time you've been able to spend here?
As soon as I got here, I was kind of awestruck. I was like, man, I'm really here. This is where like all my heroes have trained in wrestling, and I'm just sitting here like, I'm really here. Like this could be my home one day because I want to go to the 2020 Olympics. That's my ultimate goal in wrestling, and so it's an amazing feeling, and it's humbling because you look on the wall in the back and there's all these Olympic and world champions on that wall, and you're just sitting there like, I want to be like them, I want to work as hard as them, and it's just crazy. It's crazy. I don't even know how to describe it.
Well, you've obviously had a chance to meet some of the girls, not only on the mat in Vegas, but also around here. I mean, are there some of the older women that inspire you or have been able to help you out a little bit? Or, I mean, how's that been for you, getting around that group?
It's been really cool. They've all helped me. They all put as much effort into me as possible, and like they've all done so much. There's not like a specific one probably because they're all like surrounding everyone else too and trying to help everyone else out too. But it's just awesome. And then Emma, the Cadet World coach, she always has helped me because she's from Ohio too. And then Lauren Louise from Ohio. So they kind of like, oh, Ohio girls, and they all kind of partner up with me and stuff like that. So that they really helped me out a lot.
Now, some of the Ohio girls have gone into MMA, like Zappatella, right? I mean, do you know her? Or?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. I've heard of her.
Yeah, because she's doing pro stuff right now. She was in our Olympic trials this last year, even though she was training. What kind of goals do you have in jiu-jitsu? You're still doing it, I assume, right?
Yeah, I'm still doing it. It's really hard for me right now. My jiu-jitsu coach actually keeps calling me. He's like, when are you going to get back? And because it's been so hectic with wrestling right now. And I'm like, well, hopefully this week. And but my goal is to get my black belt and win a world champion as a black belt, because if you're
on the senior level, or is that what it would be?
It would be like a senior level, yeah. Because if you're when you're 16 and below, you can only have up to a green belt. When you turn 16, you can get a blue belt.
Right.
So there's an age limit. So when I competed at Worlds, I was a blue belt because I just was 15 or 16.
And for the wrestling side, I mean, you have some age group stuff, but you also have senior level stuff. You mentioned the Olympics, but I mean, let's talk a little bit about this year, because last year was a you've only been in this 2.5 years, right?
Yeah.
At the folk style nationals, you beat one of our Cadet World medalists, Martinez, right, in the finals. What did it take to beat her? Because she's really good at folk style.
Yeah. It was a lot of mental aspect because we were banging out there and we were both going hard and we would score back and forth and there was a part of me that was like, okay, I need to stay focused. We were going into overtime. It's just like the beginning. You gotta get the first takedown. And so that was always going through my head, is just to keep my mind right, because I knew if I let myself know that I was tired, know that it was going into overtime, then I would mentally defeat myself. And so I had to keep my mind right. So I kept telling myself, like, keep going, take a deep breath. This is it. You gotta get this takedown.
Yeah, and takedown wins in wrestling too, not just jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So you're going to the World Team Trials. It'll be in Vegas in a couple of weeks. I mean, you were at the Nationals, but this one will even have some more athletes that weren't in that one. I mean, it's going to be a tough tournament. What kind of goals have you set for that, for your first World Team Trials at the senior level?
I want to get in the top 8. I want to become an All-American at the senior level. It would be really great to get in the top 3, but realistically for me, I mean, I'm in the smallest, probably doing the smallest one at 53 kilos because I'm not cutting weight for it. So in this, only my 3rd senior event, because I competed at the Dave Schultz as well. So I think realistically a good, hard, realistic goal is to get in the top 8.
And there's age group opportunities for you as well. You looking at any of the age group world teams for this summer?
I'm going to try out for body bar at 51 kilos, and then I'm going to compete at Fargo at 112.
Okay, so there's a few other events in the spring. If you do succeed in some of those events, you're going to be back here some more this summer, right?
Yeah.
Is that okay with you and with your family and all that? Have you doing a lot of the training and traveling that you're going to be able to do if you're successful?
My family is gone above and beyond with me. They support everything I do. Like, I'm going to miss Easter this weekend. My grandma, Easter means a lot to my family and with our religion, and so my grandma at first was like, oh man, but she's like, you know what, you're doing great things and this is what God wants you to do. And so they always have been supportive of me no matter what I do. I know it's hard on them, but they want the best for me and they want me to succeed.
So your parents' names are what?
Dave and Amy Gordon.
Okay, and you have brothers and sisters? Are you the only jock in the house?
I got a brother. His name's Austin. He's in college. He did jiu-jitsu with me. I actually drug him into jiu-jitsu with me too. But we went to a Catholic school that didn't have wrestling, so he never got to wrestle. He wanted to. We were trying to get a wrestling team when we were there, but he graduated. He's still in jiu-jitsu. He does jiu-jitsu at Ohio State, and he is a free diver. So he holds his breath for a while. Ohio
State. They had a little wrestling there, right?
Yeah.
Well, got an Olympic champ walking around that campus.
Yeah.
Right. So goals beyond the high school. You're a senior, right? I mean, have you decided what you're doing next year? Have you made any choices for college, or what your next step is?
I'm going to the University of Cumberland down in Kentucky.
Okay.
And then I think my senior year, I already talked to my coach, and we agreed that I want to get ready for the 2020 Olympics. So we talked about maybe redshirting my senior year if I feel like it, to train out here and then to come back for my redshirt senior year after. And I'm going for physical therapy.
So yeah, that's a pretty academic course.
Yeah.
So you do well in school too, right?
Yeah, I got all A's right now, so.
So you find time to wrestle, jiu-jitsu, and keep your grades up.
Yeah, right? I don't have much of a social life.
Well, I mean, I've always heard you can have a social life after the Olympics,
yeah, that's
right?
what I was thinking.
So anything else about you that I didn't ask, about things that are interests, or just, I mean, you're a hard-working athlete with high goals, but I mean, some other things that drive you in life?
I just want to grow women's wrestling. There's all these little girls in Ohio, and they're looking up to me right now, and I know that, and I want them to have even greater opportunities than I do, like D1 in college and everything, and they're so good, and they're so dedicated, and so probably what drives me more to my own self-discipline is those girls, and I want to see them succeed more, and I always tell them, I might be your idol, but you don't want to be like me, you want to be better than me.
So Olympic champ and a world champ in jiu-jitsu. I mean, do you see that for yourself? Is that something that you can dream about? Or
Yeah, I'm really hoping jiu-jitsu gets in the Olympics. Maybe I can be a medalist in 2 different sports in the Olympics.
well, we've had some athletes that have done some of the other combat sports. Do you know somebody like we've had judo athletes that have done really well in wrestling. You know, Sandra Bacher was a world wrestling champ and made 3 Olympic teams in judo and stuff. I mean, do you see that those transfer pretty well in your mind? I mean, being able to do more than just the one style.
I want to go into MMA too afterwards. So like I know jiu-jitsu helps me a lot with MMA and wrestling helps me out, and so that's another goal of mine is probably MMA.
And that has a world tournament too, I hear.
Yeah.
Called the UFC.
Yeah.
Right?
Hopefully to get an atom weight because I'm too small.
Yeah, no, they need to add a few more weights for us, some people. I mean,
Yeah.
right now, well, UFC has 2, and then some of the other groups have other levels. But because Zapatella is a lightweight and she's fighting, right?
Yeah, Invicta has atom weight, which would be the weight class I'd be competing in.
So anyway, but anything else I forgot to tell you? Anyone you want to brag on or thank?
My parents, my parents are amazing.
Well, I really appreciate your time, Autumn. Again, we've been impressed by your performance, but your story's awesome too. And, you know, it's just, I mean, you're just scratching the surface here, right?
Yeah.
And you do a pretty good interview. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Appreciate it.